If you're watching this video, I'm guessing that you're looking for a job, and I'm guessing that you're dreading one of the worst parts of the job search, writing a resume. I know what you're thinking. I don't even know what I ate for breakfast yesterday. How am I supposed to chronicle my entire life just to get an interview? But if you give me less than 10 minutes, I'm gonna show you how to write a better resume that is guaranteed to get you more interviews and help you stand out in the job search. Now, there is a ton of resume advice out there, and some of it's good, but a lot of it is really, really bad. But today, I'm gonna show you the 6 tips that you need to write a resume that's gonna get you 50% or more interviews than you're getting today. And we're gonna walk through each of these 6 tips. It's gonna go really, really fast, but regardless of whether you have no experience or 20 years of experience, you can use these tactics to write a better resume, get more interviews, and get the job that you want. And make sure to stick around for tip number 6, which is my personal favorite way to make sure that your resume stands out in the job search. And lastly, if you're looking for a job, make sure to subscribe because we're gonna be dropping the best content on how to get a job, building resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn profiles, everything you need to know to get the job of your dreams. Tip number 1 is to conduct thorough job research. You absolutely cannot build a good resume until you understand the roles that you are trying to apply for. So let's say, for example, that you want to be a product manager working in tech. What I want you to do is go to LinkedIn and look up 8 to 10 job descriptions for the roles that you're looking to apply for. Once you have your job descriptions, I want you to review them in detail and look for 2 things. First is, do I have the skills and qualifications necessary to get this job? Maybe you notice that a lot of the job descriptions are asking for 5+ years of experience when you only have 2. Or maybe they're constantly listing a specific tool that you don't have experience with. If that's the case, that's okay. But instead of spending all your time preparing a resume and trying to apply for these jobs that you're not qualified for, you should instead figure out, how do I get the necessary skills and experience that I need in order to be qualified for the job? And that may look like applying for an internship or a lower level role at that same company. It might look like completing an online certification or a skill building course, or it might even look like just networking or finding people in the space with that role to better understand how you might gain the experience that you need to get that job. But let's assume that you are qualified to get that job. The second thing you're gonna look for are common themes or keywords. These are things like specific words, soft or hard skills, experiences, or things in the job descriptions that are constant and stand out. If you want to get fancy, you can take a couple of these job descriptions, plug them into a tool like ChatGPT, and ask it to pull out the common themes and keywords for you. But either way, get a list of those themes and keywords and put them to the side. We'll come back to them later. Tip number 2 is to choose a format and layout that is simple and easy to read. You want to be drawing a reader's attention to your most relevant experiences to the role. Please stop wasting your time on colors and different arrangements and layouts and fonts and images and all these things that are proven to not give you any advantage in the job search. Instead, I want you to follow these basic rules. 1 page, 1 column, use readable fonts like Arial or Times New Roman, short and sweet bullets instead of long paragraphs, and simple, easy to read and relevant section headers. As a bonus tip, always make sure to save your resume as a PDF before submitting to preserve your formatting. I know this might sound a little bit complicated, so to make it easy on you, I've linked in the comments a sample resume template that you can copy and paste for yourself. We've used this resume template to help thousands of job seekers just like you get the job of their dreams. So don't waste any time, just go ahead and download that, grab it, paste it, put in your own information, easy as that. Tip number 3 is to include information that's gonna help you qualify for the role. For the average job seeker, I recommend including the following information in the following order. First is your contact information, your name, email address, physical address, phone number, and LinkedIn. Next is a summary or objective statement. This should be about 3 sentences and include your background, relevant experiences and accomplishments, and also what you're seeking in your next role. Now, if you're a recent graduate, you should put your education next, whether that be high school, associate's degree, bachelor's degree, whatever it is. You should put that next, include majors and minors, the year you graduated, and include your GPA only if it is above a 3.5. If it's below that, you can leave it off. If you do have relevant work experience, then you should put that above your education and make sure to list all of your most relevant and recent roles in chronological order. Lastly, you should close with a section that covers extra things like volunteer work, leadership experiences, skills, or other interests. Once you have a draft of each of these items, it's time to make your resume stand out. The first key to writing good bullet points or sentences about your experiences is to contextualize them to the job that you're trying to apply for, instead of just writing everything that you've ever done. So even if in your last job you got coffee for your boss every day, unless that's what you want to be doing in your next job, you should leave that off. Remember all the job research that you did in tip number 1? I want you to pull up all the keywords and themes that you wrote down and review them before writing your bullets. Now let's say a common theme or thing that gets brought up a lot is driving results under tight timelines. And maybe a common tool that's brought up a lot is using Microsoft Excel. You need to be making sure that at least one, if not more, of your bullet points are presenting the fact that you know how to use Microsoft Excel and you're comfortable completing projects and driving results under tight timelines. The second key to writing a good sentence or bullet point is to make sure that you're explaining the impact that you had instead of just explaining what you did. And you can do that in 2 ways. First is to make sure to begin every single sentence on your resume with an action verb, something like managed or led or created or collaborated. There's a million different examples of what you might use, but that helps start you off on the right foot. The second thing that you want to do is use data or numbers to quantify the impact that you had. So you didn't just make sales calls, you made 200 sales calls, or you didn't just increase revenue, but you increased revenue by 20%. By doing this, you're going to help actually prove and show with data the impact that you had at your last role, instead of just explaining to the recruiter what you did. So if you're looking for a little bit of help or just some inspiration, I'm going to link our website in the description below. We have a great AI tool that can help you write better resume bullets or just get inspiration for the rest of your resume. So make sure to check that out. Tip number 5 is to make sure your resume passes the glance, skim, and read test. Now the concept is simple. The average recruiter takes less than 10 seconds to look at every single resume put in front of them. So you need to win their attention immediately. That's the glance. Think of it like a TikTok video. You need to make sure that you don't have any typos, that your formatting is good, and there's not any obvious or glaring mistakes. Follow that up with the skim. Do you see themes and keywords and relevant things from the job description standing out? Does it seem like this person has the relevant experience and skills needed for the job? And lastly, make sure to read through your resume from top to bottom. Ask yourself, do you leave with a good understanding of who this person is, what they're looking for, and why they'd be a good fit for this role? I always recommend to have at least 2 other people read your resume, one person that knows you really, really well, and one person that doesn't know you at all. By getting both perspectives, you can really understand how your resume is going to look, feel, and seem to someone that knows you and that someone that doesn't know you at all. And finally, if you've stuck around, thank you so much for watching this video. As promised, tip number 6 is to include 1 or 2 unique eye-catching things that represent your personality, ideally in the skills or interests section. So you should only use this to help yourself stand out and catch the eye of a recruiter. For example, maybe you've traveled to 20 or more countries, or maybe you know 6 languages, or maybe you were hit in the head with a tennis ball from Roger Federer when you were attending a tennis match. It really doesn't matter what it is, just make it something that's unique, that's special, that's interesting, and that represents you and your personality. Remember that a recruiter is looking at hundreds, if not more, resumes every single day, and seeing something like this that might be silly or unique or different than what they're seeing on everyone else's resume is going to help your resume break up that monotony and help it stand out for a recruiter. The second reason why it's really effective is because a resume is not only a ticket to an interview, but it's also one of the main things discussed during an interview. And after talking to all the other candidates all day about PowerPoint and Excel and projects, they're going to be begging for something different and something unique to talk about. And what you put on your resume might just be that thing that sparks an interesting conversation, something that's relatable, or just a different experience during that interview. For example, coming out of college, I put on my resume that I was a recreational juggler. Now, was I a good juggler? No. Was it relevant to the jobs I was applying for? No. But in probably 90% of the interviews that I had, my interviewer asked about my recreational juggling. It was a great, silly way to break the ice and get into the interview in a more casual way. There you have it, the 6 tips that you need to build a better resume, get 50% or more interviews, and get the job of your dreams. Try it out, check the resources in the description below, and drop a comment if you have any questions at all, and I'll try and get back to you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you here next time.